Hey guys, my name is Darshal and welcome back to another episode of Footy Mates. Today we're going to go over the Game Week 22 must-haves, and before that I'll just quickly go over my season and then we'll go over the fixture analysis, the teams we're trying to target, and then the three must-haves. Starting with my season so far, I think it's been pretty crazy over the last 4 weeks. I've gone from around top 100k to top 25k. With a few lucky punts, I guess, captaining Palmer over Saka, getting in a few key players before the trend, and yeah, I think the aim here now should be maybe to finish in a top 5k by the end of the season. But just to go over a few highlights, I think some of the biggest turning points have been getting on players like Gordon, getting on players like Palmer very early before the whole crowd did so. Sticking with some of the more popular names like Gabriel and Saka when people getting off them, because I've really based my decisions based on underlying stats and not just results based decisions. And yeah, I guess a lot of luck that's needed in this game. So yeah, let's move on to the next part. So we'll quickly dive into the fixture analysis and have a look at which teams are facing the kind of weaker teams in the league, if I may. And maybe this week there's not a lot of teams that we want to target. Teams like Sheffield, Luton, Burnley don't really have very appealing fixtures, except Burnley, I guess. They face City, so that's one of the highlight fixtures of this game week. But something to look forward to from this fixture chart is that Liverpool and Man City do have doubles in 25. Liverpool not yet confirmed, but most likely so. And a few teams have blanks, namely Chelsea, Liverpool, Luton, and Spurs in 26. So these are some of the things that you want to take care of when bringing in players. Like if you were bringing in someone like Richarlison, yes, he does have good 4 good game weeks before the blank, but you do have to take care whether you want to be using a chip in game week 26 or whether you have enough transfers to be able to remove these players later on. So that's something to keep in mind. But I guess in the next few game weeks, some of the teams that we might want to target, maybe Liverpool, who have a couple of difficult fixtures defensively maybe, but not attackingly, as they've been scoring against every single team and are top of the table. And if they have a double, you want to stack up on those attacking players or even defensive players for that game week. And Man City have Burnley at home, Brentford away, Everton at home, and a double, and then Bournemouth away. So I think that's probably the best team to target, although we do know Pep's rotation roulette may get us trapped. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Arsenal have a decent run of fixtures, I guess, but they have not been returning as much except the last game against Crystal Palace. So you may want to just keep them on the watch list and then see how it goes. And yeah, let's dive into the next part. In terms of the teams to target, I usually try and arrange these in terms of highest XGA, so highest expected goals against. And you can see here in order: Luton, Sheffield, Burnley, West Ham, Fulham, Tottenham, Wolves, and Man U, of course. So these are the teams we kind of want to target, and we saw that there's not a lot of favorable fixtures except Burnley this game week. But in the short run, we could look at maybe Tottenham, Liverpool, Arsenal, and City to be the teams that we want to load up on a lot of players for. And yeah, let's move on to the next part. So my number one target for Game Week 22 is going to be Phil Foden. I think he's been phenomenal lately. If you've been watching Man City, the stats don't even need to convince you. You can just look at the eye test and then look at the stats for more backup. But we'll go over it shortly. So he has had, in the last 4 games, he's had 1 goal, 3 assists, racking up XG of 0.89 and XA of 2.32 at a good price. His ownership is decent already, so his price has risen a few times and a lot of people do have him, but that doesn't mean you should not have him. You have to look at whether he provides value and not whether others have him. And I think going forward, given the good run of fixtures and the double coming up, someone who's been kind of consistent. I try to avoid that word with City players, but he has been kind of consistent for this City side recently. And with De Bruyne still admitting that he can't go over 90 minutes on his own, and they don't have, and if with Haaland not back, Alvarez not playing in the cam role, I think Foden has a lot of creativity just behind the forward and a lot of space to run in, and decent minutes, I'd say, for the next 3 or 4 game weeks. So if you're looking for someone to give you instant points, get you a boost in your mini league. I think he's your man. Decent fixtures, decent position. He's a midfielder, so he gives you the extra points instead of in comparison to Alvarez. And with Burnley at home, I think it could definitely be a massacre. It could be a 6-0, 5-0, and if Foden's in the goals and assists, he could have a huge haul. So I think if you're looking for someone with a high ceiling, he's your number one for this week. So my number 2 pick for this week is Diogo Jota. It might come as a surprise to some of you, but I think I've been watching this player closely and he's been phenomenal. The biggest shock is the comparison of his goals and assists compared to his expected goals and assists. He's had a total of 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 3 games, and XG of just 0.6 and an XA of 1.35. So it's kind of very controversial to what we usually look for in this series, but it's just it's sentiment showing how stats don't prove everything. You have to still evaluate on your own, and I think Diogo Jota, not to take anything away from any of the other Premier League players, but he's one of the best finishers right now in the Premier League. He takes up any opportunity, even a half chance, and converts it. He's been doing really well, and given the run of fixtures, given the fact that there is space in that team with Mo Salah injured for 21 to 28 days, and with the double coming up, the good fixtures, he's been in really good form, and I'd be very surprised to see him benched over any of the next 2 or 3 games. So I think he could provide great value. Another great part that's highlighted in green is that his ownership is only 8%. So if you're trying to gain rank, you think you're not very happy with where you are at this stage of the season, he could definitely be a rank booster, and is similar to the likes of Palmer when no one really had him and I got him and I climbed up the ranks similarly. And in terms of his fixture, it may sound difficult on paper, but we're not trying to evaluate who's winning this game. And Liverpool probably will, but we're not trying to evaluate that. We're trying to see how many points he can give us to an FPL, and I think at home against Chelsea, they probably 90% chance to score, and you'd really back him. If he's starting in that front 3, he'd probably be involved in the goals, if not some of the other players, and he's probably providing the assists. So yeah, with his incredible form, it'd be hard to overlook him, and I'm sure a lot of managers are trying to get him in the next few weeks. But if you get in on that train early, you might be on to get some good points. My third and final pick for this week is Darwin Nunez. We all know we have a love-hate relationship in terms of FPL with him. He always promises a lot and returns nothing, but I think lately it's not been the case. He needs some credit for what he's been doing. 3 goals and 1 assist in the last 5 games, and an XG of 3.08, although he's always high on XG. But his ownership's not that high because people did get rid of him recently, and his price is not that high. His fixture is similar to Jota. He's in that starting 3. I think I'd predict him to start the next 2, 3, 4 games probably for the foreseeable future. It's his place to lose, I think, in that number 9 or on the left wing position. And I think someone who has a high haul potential. He did get 2 goals in his last game, and that was a good reward for those who've held him on for so long. And he definitely has it in his locker to be able to produce the same again and again. So I wouldn't say Chelsea at home or Arsenal away is a bad fixture for him. Someone who's in such an attacking team at the front, always targeting the goal, always a goal threat, always willing to do the work to threaten the opposition. So I'd say he's my third pick. He's below the rest because of his conversion, which has not been good. Foden and Jota, I think, are way better finishers in my opinion, and sometimes it's very frustrating to have Darwin. But the good thing is that his position is not quite challenged even when Salah comes back, and the double might be very promising too. He may not be a captaincy shot since he's not on pens, but he can definitely get you a good haul. And if you get him in early and people are getting him later, because at that time in game week 25, many managers might want 3 Liverpool, 3 City players, and if you have him early, you might not suffer with those price rises. So yeah, on to the final segment of this video. I've just put together a watch list for the players that are on my radar, but I don't think it's quite wise to get them in this week. In fact, Arnold, it might be okay to get him this week, but we don't know for 100% sure that he will start. And even if he does start, it's Chelsea at home, which is not the best fixture defensively, so you might be better off getting him soon. But I think he's an absolute must in my opinion for Game Week 25. If you don't have him in Game Week 25, it could be an absolute rank killer. So he's one of the players that I'm really looking to bring. I would be looking to bring in if I don't have him, but fortunately for me, I do have him. So I'm just gonna probably start him this week. Hopefully he starts and provides some attacking return. But next week onwards, from Game Week 23, I think you should definitely look to bring him in. In terms of Kevin De Bruyne, he's on the watch list because we need to still monitor him. I think it's too early to bring him in. Yes, he has the potential to produce like a 12-pointer like he did in the last game week off the bench, but I think ideally from an FPL perspective, you're not trying to bank on someone playing on 20 minutes without pens on such a high price compared to someone like, say, Phil Foden, who might be playing 90 minutes and has almost as good attacking threat, or someone like Alvarez, who has pens and almost has the same attacking threat. So yeah, I think it's a big difference playing someone like Burnley for 20 minutes compared to 90 minutes, and maybe he does start, I don't know, but if he does start, you can always bring him in next week, and that's why he is on the radar when we're looking for players to bring in for the Game Week 25. If we have spare money and you have that ability, you want to take a punt on him to provide a lot of value for his money, his price, I think he could be phenomenal and provide great, really good gains. And in terms of Erling Haaland, he's not yet playing. He was supposed to be back in training, but he had a further setback. So he's someone we need to watch out on because he might be a potential for a triple captain in Game Week 25 if Salah's not back, because they both probably have good fixtures. But if Salah's not back as scheduled by his injury, Haaland might be a great choice. So you want to probably think about how you're going to bring them in. Salah, Haaland, De Bruyne, Arnold, all expensive players that we want to bring in. Right now we might have a lot of money in the bank, but some of the money might be stored in assets that we don't want. So keep track of who you're trying to purchase in the next few weeks, and these are some of the players. So yeah, that's it for today. Follow us, subscribe to the channel, hit a like on this video, leave a comment if you have any suggestions or comments, and yeah, see you for the next one.